The Grasberg open pit mine commenced operation in 1889 and was completed in 2020. It is located at an altitude of approximately 40 to 100 meters above sea level. Open pit mining activities at Grasberg are unique because they have a steep topography and extreme weather, often foggy high rainfall, and even occasionally snowing. Because the Grasberg open pit mining operation in a unique subalpine and alpine ecosystem, PT Freeport Indonesia is committed to manage the impact caused by carrying out mine reclamation activities through revegetation. PT Freeport Indonesia is obliged to manage the impacts through rock cover management, acid mine drainage, and reclamation activities in order to restore the ecological function of the area. The reclamation process begins with landscaping by covering exposed rock with a layer of limestone as thick as 5 meters to prevent the production of acid mine drainage. After that, the finer lime material is placed on the top layer to become topsoil and a growing zone for reclamation plants. Slope construction and drainage is carried out after careful planning to ensure that in the long term it will remain stable. The planting process only uses local plant species due to being located in alpine and subalpine ecosystem that has plant species with a high level endemicity. Planting techniques have been developed by using the direct planting method where Descampsia closi grass seeds, a local species, are collected from the field and then brought and planted in the nursery. Plant enrichment is also carried out by seeding in the nursery. In the slope areas reclamation, a hydro-seeding method is applied, where the seed of Descampsia closi grass are mixed with organic fertilizer and water, then sprayed onto the surface of the slopes. Through various studies over the years, PT Freeport Indonesia continues to develop and improve our methods. Mine reclamation activities have also succeeded in giving value to the utilization and development of human resources, especially indigenous Papuans. It's proven by the involvement of local contractors from the community living around the mining area in supporting local development. The success of mining reclamation program carried out by PT Freeport Indonesia can be seen from the growth and development of various reclamation plants and the return of ecosystem function through the presence of various types of fauna. Monitoring of flora and fauna is conducted on an ongoing basis to evaluate the success rate of reclamation activities. PT Freeport Indonesia continues to be committed to ensuring that the post-Grasberg open pit reclamation program will achieve restoration of the ecological function of the surrounding area. PT Freeport Indonesia believes that the commitment to managing post-production mining areas in a sustainable manner through the reclamation process will make a good contribution to nature in supporting sustainable development.
Good day everyone. Thank you for watching our video. My name is Krisna. In this video, our syndicate will discuss about Grasberg reclamation program at PT Freeport Indonesia. PT Freeport Indonesia, or we known as PTFI, is a premier copper and gold metals company which operates one of the world's largest copper and gold deposits in the Grasberg mineral district. PTFI officially ceased the open pit mining operation at the Grasberg mine in April 2020, marking a significant transition into the post-mining phase. As part of its long-term environmental commitment, PTFI initiated a comprehensive reclamation program focused on stabilizing the landscape and restoring ecological balance. It reflects PTFI's broader commitment to sustainable mining practices and regulatory compliance, positioning the company as a leader in responsible mine closures and ecological restoration in Indonesia. My colleague, Pak Yanu, will explain the challenges that PTFI faces in operating the reclamation program at Grasberg. Pak Yanu, the time is yours.
Thank you, Pak Krisna. The PTFI reclamation program in the Grasberg area faces several major challenges over the next 10 years. First, the scale and complexity of the reclamation area. So far, 570 hectares have been reclaimed out of the target of 920 hectares by 2024. This area is located above 3,500 meters in the alpine and subalpine zones, which have extreme weather conditions, a thin surface soil layer, frequent snowfall, and low oxygen levels. Second, regulation and supervision. We must fulfill commitments to the Indonesian government through the 5-year reclamation plan and ensure environmental compliance according to AMDAL and RPL standards. Third, social and ecological impacts. These include carry out ecosystem restoration for local flora, fauna, as well as involving the local community in the process. Finally, technology implementation. Due to being the alpine subalpine zone with extreme conditions, advanced technology is required both for execution and monitoring of the future reclamation activity. Next will be explained by my colleague Pak Yudha.
Okay, thank you, Pak Yanu. And then I will continue to explain you a brief theory about scenario planning. So scenario planning is a strategic process that helps organizations to prepare for multiple possible futures by exploring a range of possible scenarios. The organization making assumptions and scenarios about what may happen in the future based on uncertainties and driving force, and then determining how the organization will respond. Scenario planning is important because it enables organizations to operate efficiently and effectively in a volatile, uncertain, complex, and ambiguous condition, or we call it as VUCA. By exploring both worst-case and best-case scenarios, leaders can have better decision-making to manage risk and opportunities. However, scenario planning can be time-consuming and resource-intensive, often requiring extensive data and collaboration. Since scenarios are based on assumption, they may not always be accurate. And scenario planning is not a prediction tool. There is no guarantee outcomes. The next slide is I'm talking about 5 steps of scenario planning, which is orientation, exploration, scenario definition, option consideration, and integration. The first step is orientation, which clearly defines the main strategic question or challenge that organizations need to be addressed. The second step is exploration. By identifying and analyze the key driving force and uncertainties, both internal and external, that will shape the future. The third one is scenario definition. By building scenario matrix and developing detailed narrative for each scenario that represent different possible future. The fourth step is about option consideration. Analyze the implication of each scenario and identify strategies or action that organization could take in response. The last one is about bringing together all the scenario insight and choosing strategies into actual planning and decision-making process to ensure preparedness and flexibility. So scenario planning can help PT Freeport Indonesia to prepare for possible future in the reclamation by identifying key challenges like large area, harsh weather condition, regulation, compliance, social and ecological impact, community involvement, and technology use, and then developing scenarios, analyzing risks and opportunities, and choosing flexible strategies so that the company can adapt and success no matter how this factor change. There is a three type of scenario planning, which is adaptive, transformative, and strategic reframing. Adaptive is mean that build organization that flexible using what-if scenario. So it will be encourage proactive and preparation for uncertainty and enables continued progress despite unexpected changes. For example, when dealing with extreme weather conditions like frequent snowfall and thin oxygen level, PTFI can switch option to create a platform that allows people working indoors and reduce exposure to outdoor extreme weather. The second one is transformative. Empower organizations to actively shape and influence the future, driving innovation and positive change rather than simply adapting to external events. For example, PTFI can advocating for new national standard in mine reclamation, using PTFI successful pilot project as a model for other mining companies in Indonesia. The last one is about strategic reframing, which is changing on how organizations perceive its current situation so it can discover new opportunities, risks, or strategies that were previously unnoticed. For example, PT Freeport Indonesia can reframing that reclamation can be also a business opportunity, like community forest or ecotourism sees, and not an obligation. So in the next slide, I will hand it over to Pak Rega. Thank you.
Well, thank you, Pak Yudha, for the explanation. Now I will continue from here. So the scenario planning is used to address challenges and uncertainties and focus on the scenario option expected in the future. In PT Freeport Indonesia, during the reclamation project of Grasberg mine, the uncertainties and challenge leads to a question. How can PT Freeport Indonesia successfully execute sustainable reclamation at Grasberg while balancing stakeholder expectation and environmental ecosystem restoration under uncertainty? For this, we will continue to the scenario planning analysis in the next slide. Our scenario planning analysis by exploring the driving forces that affecting the uncertainties and challenge by Pestle. Pestle stands for political, economical, social, technological, environment, and legal, where Pestle itself is a category for affecting driving forces, which then all the driving forces categories into general scope of impact such as contextual, transactional, and organization. After we brainstorming the driving forces using Pestle, next we have to measure the impact of the driving forces compared also with the uncertainty that brought by its driving forces. From the graph, we can conclude that the highest score in terms of giving the most uncertainty and impact to Grasberg Reclamation Project are local community acceptance and government policies, indicating that those two driving forces were the main focus that we have to manage in Grasberg Reclamation Project. So based on that analysis, we create the matrix which consists of two indicators, which are stakeholders measured by confrontational or cooperative, government regulation indicate by great law compliance regulation or strict regulation compliance. These two indicators were the projection of the driving force which are impactful and give the biggest uncertainty to our project as stated on previous slide. If the stakeholder were cooperative and the government regulation is low, not strict, then it comes as the best cost for PT Freeport Indonesia, which means it could manage transition efficient closer with moderate oversight. If the stakeholder were cooperative but strict in regulation compliance, or we could say the regulation is high, then the project would come as an ESG excellence as global model for responsible mine closure, creating an opportunity for PT Freeport Indonesia. On the other hand, there are several conditions that could become risk as a scenario and need to be determined to control and mitigate the risk. For example, if the government regulation is low on the stakeholder were confrontational, then it could lead to social and community resistance, possibility to delay the project completion or even dispute. As general, the project was put on high risk if the government regulation is strict or high in this term. While the stakeholders were confrontational, then PT Freeport Indonesia comes to its worst case where the company license put on risk. Battles at court, probably sued by non-government organization, delayed on mine closure, penalties, and rejection. I think that's all from me. Now for the next slide, I will pass it to Pak Rogate. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Pak Rega. Very good explanation from you. Alright, let's talk about the possible scenario for Grasberg reclamations. Imagine we are looking at two things: how strict the government is with the regulations and how cooperative the stakeholders are, like the local community and NGOs. We have four quadrants in these narratives. First quadrant tells us if the rules are flexible and everyone's on board, things run smoothly, costs stay low, local suppliers get involved, and the environment starts to recover. It's basically the ideal situations. The second quadrant, the government is strict, but stakeholders are supportive. PTFI has to step up, adopt global standards, run biodiversity programs, and aim for international recognitions. It's tough, but it's a chance to shine. Third quadrant, if the rules are relaxed but the community pushes back, we get delays and reputation risk. Here, PTFI need to renegotiate, invest more in CSR, and do a lot of mediations. How about the worst case, the fourth quadrant? Hostile regulations and unhappy stakeholders. This means lawsuits, possible shutdowns, and arrests to finish reclamations while negotiating with everyone. So, these scenarios help us to see what could happen and prepare for both the good and the bad. Now, let's move on to what PTFI can actually do in each scenario. In the best case, or first quadrant, everyone's happy. The focus is on saving costs, using local suppliers, and slowly bringing the land back to life. The second, regulations are strict, but there is an ESG opportunity. PTFI should go global, adopt international standards, and run biodiversity programs. The third quadrant, there is resistance from the community. The company needs to negotiate benefits, boosting the CSR, and work hard to rebuild the trust. And if everything gets really tough, hostile regulation and legal risks, fourth quadrant tells us PTFI needs a legal team, a faster timeline, and strong negotiation skills. So, whatever happens on those cases, there is a plan for each situation. Finally, let's talk about how to spot which scenario is actually happening. First quadrant, if reclamation is going smoothly, that's a good sign, very good signs. But if law get tighter or we see protests, land disputes, audit warnings, or lawsuits, those are red flags. What it means? It means things might be shifting to a tougher scenario. By keeping an eye on this signal, PTFI can actually adjust its strategy and stay on track for successful reclamations. Okay, that's explanation from me. Now let's back to my colleague Pak Gede Krisna for the closing statement. Please, Pak Gede.
Thank you, Pak Rogate. So I think we are on the last slide. So based on the presentation, we could conclude that scenario planning is a strategic process that could help company prepare for multiple possible futures by exploring a range of possible scenarios. By exploring both worst case and best case scenarios, leaders of the company can have better decision making to manage the future risks and opportunities. That's from us. Thank you again for watching us. See you